Everything
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Holonet Journal. And I am so happy to be with you guys once again, once a month. Holonet Journal, basically, I go over history in Lucasfilm pre-Disney and go over maybe the structure of what's going on, movies, EU, what have you. And today we're going to do the EU. So I'm going to just go ahead and see who's in the chat. This is not the normal communication with chat and back and forth banter that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and start giving you guys some news, or not news, but history about some EU that has happened, that's been published for June and July. And I see people are hopping on right now. And of course, you guys are more than welcome to ask any question while I do this, and I will answer them accordingly as well. This is very educational, very fun that we can nerd out together. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the screen here and switch the format here. So again, Holonet Journal basically is for June and July, since I didn't have July or June. But did Marcia Lucas approved? Oh my God. And yeah, anyways. Yeah, so it's for June and July. June, I missed out on. And so we're going to combine both of those. So again, we're going to go over some amazing EU novels and young adult novels as well pertaining to June and July. Of course, my focus is not using every single bit of information that came out during the time, because then we'll be here for days. And I'm pretty sure none of you guys would, or any of you guys would care. But I do, because I have stuff to do. All right, so let's see who else is in the chat. Tehillim, hello, how are you? And Alroy, hello. And of course, Tuscan Bob, hello. And Bamat, hey, what's up? Cynical Taylor, how are you doing? And then another channel member here, hello there. And Soul Assassin, thank you for dropping in and modding. And Casperius, hello. So let's go ahead and get into this. I do have quite a lot. There's a lot of history behind this. And so we'll go with that. So we'll start with Holonet Journal for the month of June. And I might take myself off the screen so that we can see some of the figures here. I prepare this for you guys. However, it doesn't download right, so I'm a bit frustrated about it. As you can see, there's overlapping, and you'll see some of when it downloaded, how some of it shifted and stuff. So the first one, and this is for June, and it's these are two Jedi Apprentice novels, 1 and 2, The Rising Force and Dark Rival. And these are basically young ObiWan Kenobi series. So he's a Padawan in here. And so this tells his story as a Padawan, and I believe it's fitting for today and for what's going on today. And so I thought, wow, I guess I will use these ones instead of waiting for maybe next year or whatever if I keep this going. And so the authors are Dave Overton and Jude Watson. Cover artist Cliff Nelson. And these are not basically reviews of these novels, where I'm giving some history, development, what have you. And then the timeline is 44 BBY, Battle Before Yavin. And the series was released June 1999. And that's exactly when, about the time frame that The Phantom Menace came out as well. And very good novels here. I recommend them to each and every one of you guys if you can find them. I haven't been able to share links on websites that have them for inexpensive. I think I got a few of them for like $3 each. So I'll look that up and I'll share it in my YouTube community channel, which basically, if you haven't had a chance to become or join the community, then I suggest you do that. So this is book 1 and 2 right here, 1 and 2, and I have more people hopping on. Thank you so much. I know there's various streams happening at the moment here as we're live. And then, yes, the legit Obi-Wan. And we're not going to get into the dynamics between what's going on now because this is not what this is about. The Sentinel says, I read them during lunch in the library when I was a kid. Good times. Very good. Yeah. And then Star Wars Mansplain, what's up? $4.99 super chat. What's up, OG? How are you doing? Just a little bit of Holonet Journal going over history of George Lucas, Star Wars, even Lucasfilm history before the buyout. So, yeah. So here we go. So we're gonna do book one right here. I'm gonna give you a little synopsis with it, and we're gonna talk about continuity notes. I wanted to make this like continuity, going over with continuity and what happened during the time. I think it's very important to get that out in front of you guys, and hopefully it convinces people who come in and watch to want to pick up these books and get more into the real Star Wars, the real EU. So ObiWan Kenobi was basically 12 years old in this novel and beginning of the series. And he was failed to be selected as a Padawan learner by a Jedi Master. And then which was sent him to the agricultural corps. So basically those who weren't strong enough or whatever in the Force or had any abilities that were that qualified him as a Jedi, they were sent elsewhere to work, to serve time, I guess you can say, like volunteer or whatever. Sometimes I can imagine they just gave up and just left the Jedi Order in general. And en route to Bandomir, he is caught up in a violent rivalry between competing mining camps. And this is when he meets Qui-Gon. He got teamed up with Qui-Gon to help defend the miners. And then basically the ship crashes in the Untamed World. Their adventure begins together. And this is kind of where Qui-Gon picks him up as a Padawan learner in the story. I don't want to give too much away. I want you guys to pick this up and read that. Let's see here. I like that. I like the fact that Qui-Gon had an apprentice that fell to the dark side. It proves that even if Qui-Gon trained Anakin, he still would have fell to the dark side. Yeah. And that's what the series kind of covers as well. And then continuity notes, I really love getting into continuity notes. I wish I had time to dig further into some of these, but I didn't today. So the Jedi Apprentice series covers 5 years of young, and there you go, young, it's young, not young, Obi-Wan's life and his relationship with Qui-Gon. Basically, when you look in the history, there's a lot that wasn't covered with his himself as a Padawan learner. The series did cover it, but there was still a lot of things that they could have done with it, but they didn't. And one of the things that it was shared in the lore that Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan spent probably about a year on Mandalore, and that was not covered either. So there was a lot of information that they could expand on a little bit more with Obi-Wan. Maybe not. Maybe it was just meant to be to not tell the full story. Sometimes it's not necessary to tell every single year of their life. So let's see here. A famous character in the EU that was sent to Agricultural Corps is Elizabeth Scout Esterhazy. Yeah. And so this is the beginning of the series, and that's the continuity notes for this novel. And so if you guys know this, let me know. If this is something new to you, let me know in the chat. And then we have Jedi Apprentice here. And this is where I said when I was downloading this onto because you can download PowerPoints, this I tried to fix and it still kept on bleeding over. So that was kind of frustrating. So Jedi Apprentice Book 2 also came out June 1999. I didn't cover, I think there was another novel in this one that was in June on another day, another year. I think it was like 2000, but I didn't put it in this history portion of the EU just yet. We'll do it next time. So on a separate mission, they are separated on their own missions. Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan investigate sabotage in the mining world. Qui-Gon discovers his former Padawan had fallen his former Padawan and fallen Jedi Xanatos is the representative behind the off-world mining. So basically, a small little gist of that information. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You are right. And then, so the continuity notes in this one presented as a backstory and flashbacks, Qui-Gon's history with Xanatos and the planet Telos became a focus of the 2011 comic series Star Wars Jedi: The Dark Side from Dark Horse Comics. So you're seeing a continuity bridge there. And with the history of Star Wars today, and so we're talking about history and all this other stuff, so I'm just going to add this to it. But history of Star Wars today, many who don't care for the EU will say it wasn't coherent. The stories were all over the place. The EU was all over the place and stuff. Well, when you look into the continuity notes and do your research, you find out what is linked to what and how everything ties in together. And this is the purpose of the show as well. Holonet Journal is about giving you information behind the scenes on how they made the story work, how they made the timeline, how every story is connected some way, somehow. And let's see here. So I have people coming in. Again, I will get you guys in the chat here. If you have any questions, if you know about these series, let me know, and let me know the best moment you liked in the series, even if it's not the two novels I'm presenting here. If you don't know about it, become a member of the channel, and then also find me on Twitter for my YouTube community, and I will make it a habit of posting links to where you can find these novels for, inexpensive, cheap, and so you guys can add them to your collection. Might as well start doing that now. Let's see here. And what else do we have coming in? I have 17 beautiful souls here. Thank you guys for coming in. Please hit the like button. There was also a novel done showing Qui-Gon under Dooku. Then it had a follow-up in the novel covering Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, then finally Obi-Wan and Skywalker. Yeah, they're all linked somehow, some way, and it's so fun when you read them and you catch on to the continuity and where else they link to, what other story, and in the timeline. It's a fun thing. It's like putting together a puzzle, I guess you can say. Yeah, here you go. Right here. Thank you so much. So, and then again, if you read the series, let me know, what was your favorite moment? I own it, but some escaping the moment. Yeah, I mean, so I haven't read the series in a long time myself. So it's always fun to pick it up again and get into the series. And, maybe there's something that you missed the first time, so, and it's always a beautiful thing to reread. Ask Matt Wilkins. And then, so we have now Cloak of Deception here. How many of you guys read Cloak of Deception? So the author is James Luceno, cover artist David D. Anderson, and the timeline is 32 BBY. And so this occurs shortly before and Senator Palpatine is manipulating Chancellor Vorum and the other senators. And we also know that he's a Sith master, right? And so he begins to slowly put together the Ninoimians. Oh, Lord, I can't even talk today. And the Trade Federation in position for the blockade of Naboo. So we're seeing the beginning of that. We're seeing the beginning of the blockade of Naboo, all this trade stuff going on, and this little conflict that's beginning in Cloak of Deceptions. Neimoidians. Yeah, Neimoidians. Oh my God, Lord, get it right. This begins in the events where we see, this begins events where we've seen Phantom Menace. And so just this little continuity notes here. Originally, the title was called Vengeance, and Neimoidians. I hear a cat. Now the cats are always around here. I have two of them. Yeah. Neimoidians. I hear Neimoidians, and then my tongue doesn't want to wrap around it today. I don't know why. And then Cloak of Deception is a prequel to Episode 1. So there's another little continuity fact. So this takes you in to the episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And thank you so much for the lovely Miss Martin Muses for coming in with a little handshake and rose. I hope you are doing well. All right. So 15 beautiful souls here. So Nimoidians. I got it, you guys. There we go. I forgot General Zod was in Star Wars. Yeah. Let's see here. So this right here. So if you guys read this, let me know in the chat what you thought about this. Would you rate this for yourself? Knowing that it leads up to the Phantom Menace and everything that we see that's occurring, the Trade Federation, everything, all the politics that surrounds the blockade of Naboo and what's going on, and how Palpatine slash Sidious is, basically planning, both sides of the war and all that. So, yeah. So let me know. And for myself, it was okay. It did its job, I guess you could say, on leading up to. Yeah, but it's not one of my favorite ones either. So it's not good for me, but it's not bad. But again, I'm not trying to sit here and do reviews on these novels or anything, but I just want to hear back from you. Okay, let's see. I have Rogue Planet I need to read. Awesome. Let's see here. Next for June is the comic here, Clone Wars Volume 4. Now, this is from the Multimedia Project, and this is one of my favorite ones. A lot of these these comics are amazing when it came to the Multimedia Project. Their stories are phenomenal. Let me go ahead and take my face off the screen so you can see. All right. So all of these are phenomenal. The stories just blend with each other. We get to see not only our movie heroes, or I could say the movie characters, but also those that from the EU interact within the climate that's going on during the time. And the script was Jan Ostrander, pencil, John, not Jan, and then Jan Durasima, pencil, ink, Dan Parsons, color, Brad Anderson, cover artist, Glenn Orbick, and the collection itself. So the whole volume was created or published in June 2004. And the timeline basically is a Clone Wars era. So, and I didn't get the exact time on this or the dates on here, so I apologize for that. So Ayla Secura learns when she battles former Jedi in training, Aurra Sing, and Qui-Gon discovers when he crosses swords with a true master of the dark, Count Dooku. So I say Dooku. I always say Dooku, but it's a Doku. What do you guys like to say? Set against the backdrop of the Clone Wars, this novel-length adventure is filled with espionage, betrayal, and amazing lightsaber battles. And so basically, this is one of them that has where I believe Anakin thought Obi-Wan was dead, or this follows up from Jabim. I'm not too sure. It's like these all blend in time frame for me. So I have to go back and check it out. And continuity notes. Final page of Light and Dark. Mace Windu refers to an incident that has traumatized his former Padawan, Deepa Billaba. So basically, Jedi Master, we know her as. The incident occurs in Shatterpoint. So Shatterpoint, again, we have some continuity, tie-ins here. So keeping the story as coherent as it can, referring back to events from the past. And, whether it's reflection or something that happened to bring up that moment where he's reflecting or thinking back or talking about. And so Shatterpoint, we know that Deepa Billaba basically succumbs to the dark side and fights it and what have you. But she ends up basically putting her lightsaber through her head. And so next time we see them, he is sitting with her and she's trying to force heal herself and stuff. And so that's very tragic right there. So if you've read Shatterpoint, you know exactly what I'm just talking about. And hello, Tommy, how are you doing? And let's see here. Buzzy. I haven't the novels, but I have the Black Fleet Crisis trilogy. I want to read the Thrawn trilogy to what comes before, the Kenobi books and Tales of the Jedi. I'm so glad to hear that. Expand on your knowledge. I own every Dark Horse Clone Wars volume there is. That is the Clone Wars. Exactly. I agree. And so right here, so this is volume 4 here, and this is the classic cover. You now see in today that they are in collections with the Legends label. So if you search for it without that and in the classic omnibus style that we see here, this cover, you might find some that are pricey. But I would totally suggest you look and get a non-Legends label if all possible. You know, it's just the best way to go because you're getting the classics. You're getting the classic stuff. And, you know, so with me, I have the Dark Forces and the last one, what cost a pretty penny. So it did cost a pretty penny, but I got it anyways. So let's see here. Clone Wars comics are expensive. Even the Legends one go for high dollar. Yeah, they are such great stories. You know, Jan, all of them, the stories, the art, the comic art, all of that is just up to par. And then when you fast forward into Legacy comics, not Legacy of the Force, that comes before their comics as well, because we have Jan Dursema and John and them working together again for that. You know, just phenomenal with the images as well. And so, yeah. I don't know what that question is. Would you say paper? All right. So let me know. And I want to engage with you guys in the chat a little bit here, even though this is like a little Holonet Journal giving some history about Lucasfilm pre-Disney. I still want to know if you read these here. So let's move on here. All right, so Holonet Journal here for the Jedi Twilight, and I believe that this might be one of the least read novels in the EU. And so Coruscant Nights Volume 1, or Book 1, and the author is Michael Reeve, cover artist Glenn Orbick. So it's the name you'll see a lot. Published June 2008. And the timeline is 19 BBY. So this is basically after, right after Revenge of the Sith. And so I see people coming in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Jax Pavan is a surviving Jedi who seeks refuge in Coruscant's underworld. He is sought out by Darth Vader, whom, as a Jedi, had a friendship with Jax. Darth Vader wants to bury any remnants of the past. Jax is one on a quest that also puts him in the targets of Black Sun. And so we have a little bit of cross between here. We get Black Sun in here. We get Vader wanting to eliminate, memories of the past. And I'm just going to go, since we're talking history of Star Wars and stuff here, if that's the case, if he's going after Jax because he was his friend during the time being a Jedi, basically under Anakin Skywalker, and so he wants to hunt them down to erase his past, to eradicate anything in his past, then why don't we see that with Ahsoka? If he's trying to eradicate his past and he goes after a Jedi that was one of his friends, then you would think that that would be the same thing for Ahsoka Tano. So that he can go ahead and get rid of anything that's, compromising to him as Vader, and, to move forward. He's like, forget the past. I want it to die. And I'm using this as an example, a very funny example. But basically that's what Vader's like. You were a part of my past. You must go now. So there we go. So the continuity notes here is basically, this occurs about 2 months after Revenge of the Sith. Coruscant Nights series picks up the story threads began in Darth Maul, Shadowhunter, and the MedStar duology. So We have the Shadow Hunter, which I did review here on the channel. And then the MedStar duology that, has Barriss Offee, and it's basically Clone Wars story as well. And so it picks up, some story threads from there. Again, linking continuity here. So hopefully you guys see what's going on here is like we're talking about linking continuity and how the EU was coherent in its own continuity, not like I'm coherent in my own text and writing right now, right? Let's see here. Let's see what you have to say. Ahsoka is the biggest plot hole in Star Wars. Vader isn't obsessed with tracking her down. She doesn't show up to help the rebels. She doesn't help Luke Skywalker. She just lets the Empire win. There you go. And that's the thing too. It's like if he's going after Jax because he wants to eradicate everything from his past, any remnants of his past, then why didn't he go after his own Padawan? And so you have, it just raises questions for everyone about that. And so a little bit of like pondering on history when we're talking about continuity here, and it's, these continuity notes sharing coherent stories between movies, or not movie, well, even the movies, but between the novels as well. And storylines, plot lines, threads, I guess you could say is another word used here. And then you ponder about a character that probably should have died before the end of the prequel trilogy. It kind of dismantles some of those threads that were woven. Like, Vader here wanting to eliminate any remnants of his past. And but yet all of a sudden, like, he doesn't care. I mean, mind you, they've in the Disney Star Wars, and I'm gonna go there now. I said I wasn't. He thinks she's dead. I don't know. So, but yeah, let's see here. I enjoyed this run. Yeah, okay. I mean, like I said, this is a one that where people I've heard hit and miss on this. The Coruscant Nights. I think it's an intriguing story. It takes you out of the norm of the classic stories that we have with our basic heroes, our legacy heroes, and gives us a different perspective from another Jedi. And people always like, oh, well, we always, see the Skywalker family, right? And well, this kind of breaks away from it, other than Vader, but it kind of breaks away from it because we're now in the perspective of a Jedi who survived. So let's see here. And the character dies a hero. Yeah. And then, so now we're going to transition to Holonet Journal for July. And so what'd you think about any of those? Do you have any questions about any of the EU novels I presented here? We have Jedi Twilight from Coruscant's novel 1. We have the Clone Wars Volume 4, Cloak of Deception, and of course, Jedi Apprentice 1 and 2. And I highly recommend, if you are tired of listening to the destruction of legacy characters like Obi-Wan, to pick up these books and just immerse yourself in there so you can be prepared, in knowledge and EU or lore knowledge when talking with people who are either sitting on the fence about the EU, the classical, original, real Star Wars EU, or the ones that hate it, where you can have that ammo on you. It's totally up to you. You don't even have to engage with any of them. So I'm not saying go out, read them and go out there and just, kick some ass or anything. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I'm not trying to instigate you whatsoever. I'm just saying it's better to be prepared when you are facing some adversity regarding the EU. And yeah, let's see here. Jedi Twilight also had an LGBTQ character in the story, but it wasn't shoved in your face like present. And that's my thing. So on Star Wars history, I should have just used this, even though it has nothing to do with any months, for June or July. I should have went ahead and talked about Mandalorian culture, because the Mandalorian culture, if you want to categorize it in LGBTQ terms and in the gender non-binary type terms, then the Mandalorian culture basically is non-binary, because when you look at the language, like Babu Weir is for grandma and grandpa, and they have, like, like even for brother and sister, they're about the same. So they dress people just the same, no matter if they're a man or a woman. The woman is expected to be as strong, if not stronger than the man, be able to do and all things the man does as well. And then on top of that, we have Bavine and his husband as well. And when you read about them, it's done so organically. It's done so beautifully. It's like, oh, his husband, and that's all. And we don't get like sexual conquests or all of that, or even sexual exploration with these characters because of who they are, or like what they like sex wise. We just get the fact that they are gay and they are a couple, and so it's done so organically, and it's like, it's just a, like, yeah, that's what they are. And it's like basically acceptance. That's how you accept someone. You say, oh yeah, they are. But you don't go and talk about it like to where, I don't know. It's just, I'm just so tired of it. So let's move on here. Let's see here. As long as you follow the 5 tenets of Mandalore, nobody cares about, you probably mean love life. Yeah. I can say this for a fact. Ahsoka is the most overrated character ever associated with the brand Star Wars. She's held as a great example of a well-written female character. She's a bossy, or she's held as this great example of a well-written female character, and she's bossy. She's a bossy moron. Yeah. Let's see here. Salute, just getting in from work. Hi, all in the chat room. Well, thank you for joining, Marcos. All right, so let's go ahead. So again, those who are joining, we just covered these, the continuity history of these novels here. So Jedi Apprentice 1 and 2, so the Rising Force and the Dark Rival. So we're doing a recap on this right now. And then Cloak of Deception. And then Clone Wars Comic Volume 4, part of the Clone Wars Multimedia Project. And, look who we have in the front there. And then Jedi Twilight, Book 1 of Coruscant Nights. And then now we're going to head on into Holonet Journal for July. And again, I miss doing this with you guys here. I love doing this once a month and gathering all this information. And so I look forward to August. And August will be more in depth. I'm going to go back to the movies as well and share some movie history as well. So we'll check that out. So let's see here. But until then, just giving you something to look forward to. So we have Lando Calrissian and the Mind Harp of Sharu. So this one right here, this is so fun because you have Lando has trilogy, and so did Han Solo, and Han Solo had 2 trilogies, but the authors didn't really compromise each other, so that was good. So the author Neil Smith, I got to be on Open Airlock Policy's channel for when we got to interview his daughter. Amazing stuff there. And I am forever grateful for being included in that interview. Cover artist William Schmidt, paperback published. So the first ever to be published is the paperback. Sometimes it's the hardcover, but in this case, it's the paperback. So July 1983. That's book 1, and the timeline is 3 to 2 BBY. So we know that once the dark times begin, or everything before Battle of Yavin, it's counting down to the Yavin battle to 0 to when the event happened. And then after the Battle of Yavin, then it counts up again. So a little history there. So basically, we know him as a gambler, a rogue, and a con artist. Lando Calrissian was born with a well-developed taste for the good life. More comfortable at the dealer's end of a fast shuffle than at the rear end of a blaster, Lando always had his sensors scanning for the chance to pick up easy credits. So we already know his history. This is such a fun. I have to go back and review these again, read them again. I have to go back and reread a lot of things, but there'll be time and a place for that. So when he heard that the planets of the Rafa system were practically buried in the ancient alien treasure, he hopped aboard the Millennium Falcon. So he still has a Falcon here, and brushed up on his rusty astrogation. He never stopped to think that someone might be conning the con man. So just a little bit of history here, not giving away too much here for you guys. So this is book 1. And so again, published July 1983. And I hope some of you guys picked up some of these, or has picked up this trilogy and read it before. So let's see here. Let's see, Tommy, he can't just not let her go. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You guys have your own conversation going on here, and I'm like curious now, even though I'm trying to present this to you guys. All right, so now we're going to go into continuity notes here. So again, focusing on continuity notes. Like the Han Solo adventures, the uniqueness of a standalone story allowed the authors to world build without fear of continuity conflicts with the larger galactic empire. The novels are more notable for describing Sabacc. So we talked about this when and I'm going to post a little link so you guys can go watch that interview. But we talked about this somewhat with Neil's daughter about, the Sabacc and how it was created and stuff. And then Weston Games expanded on the details of the novel to make a playable version of the Sabacc in 1989. So a little bit of history there. So Neil Smith was very creative. You'll be amazed in the interview how fast he got this stuff written as well. So again, the link will be shared. And also go ahead and if you haven't had a chance to subscribe to Open Airlock Policy's channel and go check out that video. And then the future of all Sabacc that is shared throughout Star Wars has Neil Smith basically to thank here. So, we always heard about playing Sabacc. It's always been a thing here. And thanks to Neil Smith, his creative genius, he brought us Sabacc here for the lore. And Lando Calrissian does not grow a mustache. So we don't see him with his mustache until the second novel. So he doesn't have a mustache in the lore, according to this, until the second novel. So that was very interesting bit of, information there. And let's see here. There we go. Subscribe to Open Airlock. And then check out Open Airlock and OG's interview. And it was also with Matt Wilkins too. Jeez, I can't get anything right today. Yeah, so check that out here. It was myself, Matt, and Open Airlock Tim, and that was such a great interview. It was so much fun. Hopefully, I will be able to talk with her, with Ryla soon. It's been a while since I've heard about her or what's going on with her. Yeah, so go ahead and check that out, you guys. And the link will be above here. So you guys can go ahead and click on it and watch that if you're watching this at a later time. And so what is your favorite Lando Calrissian story? Doesn't have to necessarily be in the novels here. What is your favorite story with Lando? Like, pre-Disney, not Disney, pre-Disney. So let me know. Let me know. And then Sabacc, do you think that was a genius game? What do you guys think about that? Have you guys actually ever played Sabacc yourself? Because it's a playable game. It is. It's a playable game. Let me know. All right. And then now, and I didn't plan this out. This is just something that happened the way it did, and I decided to go ahead and include this. So this is Paradise Snare. This is the first novel of the A.C. Crispin Han Solo trilogy. So we have the Han Solo Adventures, and so that's a trilogy. And then we have this Han Solo trilogy from A.C. Crispin here. And both of them I like, and she honors the past novels as well. So when you read in there, you can see, again, continuity going on, just like I'm sharing here today. And let's see here. Author, of course, I already said. Cover artist is Drew Struzan. Paperback published July 1996 for book 1. And this basically, the timeline is 10 BBY. So I don't know if you guys are very familiar. You guys might be more familiar with this trilogy other than the very first one. If you watch the Han Solo or the Solo Star Wars story kind of deal, they did cherry pick some scenes, but kind of, well, they won't say kind of, they bastardized those scenes. Like, him being a racer, and then him rescuing Chewie, which it happened, but not the way it happened here. And so they kind of felt like they kind of cherry picked here, but then twisted the story around, twisted it around. And so before the galaxy from the iron grip of the Empire, here is the novel or the never before told story of the young Han Solo. So this is basically, we have this is 10 BBY. So this is during the dark times. And so yeah. So he was a child without a past, a Corellian street urchin, abandoned foraging for scraps of food, when the cruel Garrus strike whisked him away to a nomadic band of spacefaring criminals. So there's a backstory here again. Now years later, chafing under Shrike's sadistic tyranny, driven by dreams of adventures and glory, Han fights his way free. His goal, to become an Imperial Navy pilot, but first he needs hands-on experience flying spacecraft. And for that, he takes a job on the planet Yleisia, a steaming world of religious fanaticism, illicit drugs, and alluring sensuality, where dreams are destroyed and escape is impossible. So there you go. So a little bit of history on that. So again, you can kind of see things from, like, examples from this right here and what Disney tried to give us fans, and you can see how much they bastardized that. And there we go. So I don't know what you guys think about that, if you guys read this or not, and if you see the differences. So let's get into the continuity notes here. During this time, it is estimated that Han Solo is 19 years old. And so we always debated, there's no real birth date given. He was orphaned, and basically this trilogy goes into that and what happens. It's still kind of a mystery. And then when you get later on in the EU, it goes back, like the courtship of Princess Leia reveals a little bit more, but it's still uncertain. And I think Han is denying his family history, but who knows? It's all left to the reader's imagination with that. This would make him 29 years old at the start of A New Hope. Han Solo is not sure when he was born. During a visit to Alderaan, he receives a pre-recorded transmission from Senator Bail Organa. The dark-haired girl sitting in his lap is a 10-year-old Leia Organa. This is the first time Han sees his future wife. And one of the false indications Han uses is Janos Indanian, an anagram of Indiana Jones. This identity is particularly appropriate when Han is trying to fence stolen antiquities. So there you go. So a little bit of continuity and a little bit of like wink or nod towards Indiana Jones as well. So I thought that was interesting fun fact here to share with you guys. And let me go ahead and see what's going on in the chat. Fun facts. Dengar got his bandages from losing a race to Han. And let's see here. I would say more like Disney tried to fool people, hoping they wouldn't notice how they destroyed everything. Oh, I know. I mean, I know. All right. And let's see here. So we have this right here. I don't know how many of you guys had gotten into this story here. And this goes way back in history, way back in history. And I'm talking about 5,000 BBY or 3,000 BBY. So that's the timeline. And there's two stories here that were published here. One, it was Skyborn, and the other one was Pantheon. So both July 1, 2009 and 1, 2011. And the author is John Jackson Miller. And so I haven't had a chance to really get into The Lost Tribe of the Sith. That's one of them I haven't read yet, although I'm familiar with the stories because Fate of the Jedi basically kind of gives us information as well, but this alludes more into it. So I don't know if you guys have read this before. So this goes back into the history of just the Lost Tribe of the Sith. This is not basically the history of the Sith in general as a whole, that, you know, with all the Sith wars and stuff that goes on during that time frame. This basically is all about the Lost Tribe of the Sith right here. Let's see here. I would say more like Disney. Oh yeah, I read that one already. Yep. And it says Jedi ambush leaves the Sith ship Omen marooned on the remote alien world. Its survivors at the mercy of their desolate surroundings and facing almost certain death. But Sith will no more bow before the whims of fate than they will yield to the weapons of their enemies. And Omen's cunning commander Yaru Corson will let nothing to keep him and his crew from returning to the stars and rejoining the Sith Order's conquest of the galaxy. Murdered his own brother has proven Corson's ruthless resolve, but now an entire race stands in his way. So basically, we're getting like the synopsis of Skyborn. The primitive, superstitious Kashiri worship unseen gods called the Skyborn, shun science, and punish unbelievers with death. Branded a heretic, the widow young geologist Andari Val is running for her life. Among the mysterious Sith castaways, she finds powerful sanctuary, and her saviors find the means of survival with Adiri as their willing pawn, the Skyborn as their Trojan horse, and the awesome power of the dark side of the Force at their command. And the Lost Tribe of the Omen set out to subjugate a planet and its people and lay the foundation for a merciless new Sith nation. So again, if you read Fate of the Jedi, you would know like Vistari Kai. Quads are going by. This Vistari Kai is from the Lost Tribe. So if you know that story, and she is also was a love interest of Ben Skywalker at one time. And thank you, Orange Hat, for coming in. You have a good night. And then Telium says, I remember reading this run. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. So here's a continuity, or this is book 2. Oh yeah, I decided to not do the continuity between. So this is the Pantheon one here. And so when the Sith ship Omen crash land on Cash 2,000 years ago, so we're skipping now for 2,000 years, the crew encountered native barbarism and superstition. Now a violent millennium has reduced the Lost Tribe of the Sith to a similar state, with Sith teachings are remembered, honored, and violently practiced. Knowledge of the Lost Tribe's true origin has all but vanished. So basically, we see them, the Lost Tribe of the Sith, how the Sith basically, form a new society, a new group of people, and that's where the Starry Kai comes from. With a dark age imperiling the Sith, the future rests on the hands of the unlikeliest of people. Caretaker Hiltz, the official keeper of lore, mild-mannered by Sith standards, and aged Hiltz hopes to use the wisdom of the ancients to reunite his people. But the truth he uncovers becomes anything but the tribe's salvation. Rather, he may have set loose forces leading to its destruction and his own. So there you go. So a little bit of history on that. I don't know if you guys are interested, you can buy the whole collection in a novel. These are just printed, these came out and were published, as the stories were coming to light. And so you can get them in their own novel. So continuity notes here. Lost Tribe of the Sith are tied to Dalray's fate of the Jedi novel set more than 40 years after A New Hope. The Fate books shared a new, previously uncovered faction of Sith that had escaped notice for thousands of years due to being marooned on a primitive world. The Lost Tribe of the Sith series begins in the thick of the Great Hyperspace Wars. And I didn't include any more continuity notes because I'll be going back and sharing other stories, and I want to go ahead and have some continuity notes from them as well. What do you guys think about having another type of Sith that were marooned, and they evolved from that, and then all of a sudden, being brought to light later in history? What do you guys think about that? Did you guys agree with that? Because we had the Rule of Two that was being formed, right? So we had the Brotherhood of Darkness, we had the Rule of Two, and then after that we had the One Sith. And then we had this faction that basically were totally isolated from the Sith and evolved into this whole new faction. Did you guys agree? Let's see here. Sucks that we have story plots that will never be resolved. Thanks, Disney. I know. Should talk to Jamaj and I about the Lost Tribes OG Star Wars. I remember him talking about them. Yeah, I'm going to have to. I need to get him on for Talking EU. I need to get that up and going again. And I have a few people that I want to interview. I just have to get that going again. So I miss doing the EU, Talking EU. Yeah. Let's see. I agree and disagree. I'm like in the middle. Hello, Becky. I love the Lost Tribes of the Sith covers. Yeah, they're very intriguing, aren't they? I know. I was looking at that, and art-wise. So art-wise, we'll talk a little bit about art. Let me go back on the slide here. So right here, we have basically, this is like 2,000 years after they crash landed on Akesh and were stranded and, basically started evolving into their own sect of Sith. So we have their homes and their stuff that they, their basically their new culture that they made, their new cities and stuff like that, and all of that. And just right here, you have contrasting colors, and you have the focus of like the orange here, and then it draws you up to the eye and him gazing at you. So very well done. And then again, we have now the opposite eye with a Sith color. This is almost one of the first novels that came out. I believe it's the first or the second. And so we have the Sith face right here. You could see a little bit of red here. He's cloaked. You could see the yellow eyes. And so it's, it's menacing. We have just the standard orange and blue colors again. Like, do you have the different colors of blue in there mixed with the dark colors in black, and then you have the yellow, red, and so it goes to orange, and so it just draws your eyes in. Something very interesting to look at. We don't see that much with new covers anymore. They're to me, they're bland. They're very bland. Let's see here. The new Star Wars Battle Pass. Let's see here. Make Plagueis answer to Palps about possibility of surviving Sith spread out in the galaxy true. Let's see here. And let's go move on here. Oh, I thought I had one more there. I guess I didn't. Yeah. So basically, we have a little bit of continuity. Like a lot of this was continuity threads that I wanted to talk about. And when you go ahead, like I said, when you read Star Wars and you read a novel and you have read around that novel, the stories, the lore around that, and you're privy to continuity and to what's going on in the lore, you will pick up on these gems. You'll pick up on these gems, these little threads, I guess you can say, that link the history. And that's what was great about Star Wars, that everything was a history off of the movies. Everything was flown, or not flown, but everything, basically came off the movies, well done, like a single thread, I guess you could say. Let me see here. I see someone talking about Jar Jar Binks buys the new Star Wars Battle Pass. I don't know what you're talking about, darling. Okay. And let's see. Join orgies or Georgie. Tell you I can't talk today. I don't know what's wrong with me, you guys. It's like comical for me today. It's like a day where I need to get my English right. And here I am. So join OG's community. And so there you go. Yeah. Oh my God, you guys. It's just, this is what happens when I don't live stream that much. I can't even freaking talk or anything here. So what is, out of these novels that I shared, if you read them, what is your favorite, or what are you intrigued about this? Let's do some question and answer before we close out Holonet Journal here. So we'll go back. I'll just go through them one more time with you. And hopefully next time I upload one of these, that it's not, they're not, the stuff isn't getting pushed around here. So we have Jedi Apprentice 1 and 2. Of course, one is the Rising Force. The second one is Dark Rival. We have Cloak of Deception, basically the prequel to the Phantom Menace. Then the Clone Wars Volume 4. And Jedi Twilight, Book 1 of Jedi Knights. And then we have Lando Calrissian and the Mine Harp of Sharu. And then we have Paradise Snare, the first book of Han Solo trilogy under A.C. Crispin. And then we have Skyborn from the Lost Tribe of the Sith, so one of the first stories. And then one of the, I wouldn't say the last stories, but here another story here, and it's 2,000 years after they were left marooned on Kesh, and it's called Pantheon. And there you have it. Let's see here. And the Porgs will save Star Wars. Oh, I hate you, quote by okay. All right. So, so there's that question. So which one caught your eye, or which one did you read? Which one is your favorite out of this before we start closing up? So these Holonet journals, basically, again, it's about history of the past Star Wars, pre-Disney, whatever month we're in is the month that I'm going to, I'll research and give you history about it, whether it's the EU, whether it's the whole company, or the whole company, whether it's the movies, a little bit of all of it, games or whatever. I want to do a gaming one, but I want to bring on a co-host for the gaming one because I haven't really played the game. So I want to have someone with experience come in and co-host with me and give some history. And I'm not going to worry about the month for that. I just want to give the history of gaming, of LucasArts. So stay tuned for that. That will be one of the Holonet Journals subjects here coming up in the near future. As soon as I find someone that I can bring on that's willing to come on and talk about LucasArts and gaming and their experience, then I can present that to you as well. So Holonet Journal basically is here to preserve the history of Star Wars and give you history, whether it's through continuity, games, novels, comics, the movies, all of it, like even the making behind the movies. And so I want to do another, because I do a lot of OT stuff. So I want to do the PT making of and discuss that as well here, because there's so much to talk about when it comes to the PT, because George Lucas did use a lot of EU in there. So it'd be fun to sit down and say, oh, here's an EU thing, here's an EU thing, and talk about the tie-ins and the continuity information on that. So stay tuned for that. I have all these ideas here, and there's only one of me, and Holonet Journal is once a month. So, but I just want to make sure I, give you guys some history here and talk about something that maybe you haven't read yet or watched yet or what have you. And I look forward to doing Tartakovsky's Clone Wars too on Holonet Journal. That's going to be fun as well. So you guys, thank you guys for joining in. And it's a great pleasure with me and my tongue-tiedness. So I hope that made you guys laugh. It's entertainment as well. So hopefully that make you guys laugh. And as always, it's always great to be here with you guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any further comments, just leave them in the comments after this is published here on my channel, or you can find me on my community and ask questions about what we had discussed here. And again, read. Get out there, get the EU, read, and start learning the continuity tie-ins. I tell you, it just feels so good when you get to recognize, oh my God, that happened during this time frame and it's affecting them now, kind of deal. And seeing all those ties go on, seeing everything tied together. And it gives you ammo against people who decide to say otherwise. So yeah, there we go. Yeah, so you guys, thank you guys again. And any channel members that came in for we'll get their name put in for the drawing. I don't know how long I'm going to keep this going, but because I had so much stuff going on in my life, I want to give extra times for people to come in and earn a copy of a painting. So if you came into the channel today and watch a live stream, your name's going down. So there you go. So any channel members, thank you guys for dropping in. Jacob, are you just getting here? Jack Link's messing with Sasquatch. Okay. All right, you guys. So thank you again for tuning in for Holonet Journal. Maybe next time I'll have a blouse with a nice little tie on, and I can look more of a reportish or like reporter type-ish costume. Or maybe I will dress up as, let's see if I have her here. Let me close that. As Merrick's Tarek. Let me see here. So if you guys know who she is, she's an information broker, smuggler, and her dad is a booster Tarek. So maybe this too. Maybe I'll dress up like her, or maybe I'll dress up like a reporter stylish kind of attire to make it more interesting for you guys to watch. I don't know. With my speech impediments, I guess you could say. I am so sorry for that. But thank you guys again for tuning in. Or I could dress up as Slave Leia. You're wishing. All right, you guys, have a good night, and may the Force be with you.
All canon. Everything published was canon.